According to the accepted history of mankind, we should not find examples of 20th century technology being used thousands of years ago. And yet examples of this technology can be seen at sites all around the world, defying conventional scientific explanation. Alan Alford, Gods of the New Millennium. Today we are going to Bolivia, near the Andes mountain range of South America. Like many of its neighbors, Bolivia boasts a very rich pre-Inca history. At an altitude of more than 3,700 meters lie the mysterious ruins of Pumapunku, forming part of an even larger complex called Tiahuanaco. Nobody truly knows who built these ruins, although there is no shortage of myths and legends to explain the site's creation, many from the local people themselves. When we asked the Aymara if it was built by the Incas, they laughed and affirmed that what they could observe was it occurred suddenly in the course of a single night, performed by gigantic beings in times prior to the Great Flood. Pedro Cieza de Leon, Chronicles of the Inca. Pumapunku consists of dozens of stone blocks weighing over 100 tons each and reaching up to 8 meters in height. The stones are scattered over an area of about 16 hectares, where they have become partially buried over time. Clearly, many of these enormous stone blocks have not been moved since they fell thousands of years ago. These mysterious blocks appear to have been constructed with technology that was impossible for their era due to the exact precision of their angles and holes. As if that wasn't strange enough, they fit together as if they were pieces of a puzzle. Indeed, upon examining the ancient ruins of Pumapunku, Berkeley archaeologist Alexei Vranich said they were reminiscent of a giant Lego set. Nobody has found another example of this type of construction anywhere else in the world. The question remains, how did primitive people create smooth and flawless right angles and circular holes in Pumapunku stones with crude hammers and chisels? To date, not a single tool has been found at the site. It is almost as if a group of people came here thousands of years ago, created the site, and then carefully picked up their instruments so no evidence would be left behind. For those who understand what they are seeing here for the first time, this could indeed be the strongest evidence ever found of prehistoric engineering by those who are known and feared throughout the ancient world as gods. Thomas Horn, The Gods Who Walk Among Us. According to the official version, the ruins of Pumapunku are around 4,000 years old, but many archaeologists have contested this version and presented evidence suggesting a much greater antiquity. According to engineer Arthur Poznansky, based on the study of archaeoastronomical symbols found on them, the ruins must be over 17,000 years old. This would mean that its construction predates any known civilization by thousands of years. One of the proofs with which we can also reinforce our assertion concerning the enormous age of Tiahuanaco is that in the folklore of the Altiplano, nothing is related to traditions which allude even remotely to the origin and object of that magnificent metropolis. It is unquestionable that a huge culture like that of Tiahuanaco would have left an imperishable recollection in the minds of the men who inhabited this part of the Andes if it had evolved in a relatively recent period. Arthur Poznansky, Tiahuanaco, the Cradle of Man. In the ruins, we find several types of stone blocks. First, there are the blocks 8 meters high and weighing 100 tons, whose angles are perfectly straight. This is most perplexing because some of the stones are comprised of grey diorite, which is a hard igneous rock, as hard or more so than granite. In addition to the angles, there are enormous holes with perfectly straight trajectories that pierce the blocks, as if made with drills. It is said they were carved with ancient chisels, which seems incomprehensible given their perfection. Microscopic analysis reveals surprising data. The cuts are clean, similar to those made by diamond saws or even modern laser technology. It's part of our idea, too, that some giant airship that was a factory with power tools and power saws and routers and drills just landed here and began processing these giant blocks of stone and then ultimately created Pumapunku. David Childress, Lost Cities of South America. There is a second type of stone in the shape of an H, which appear in abundance throughout the area as if they were mass-produced. Their shape allows for exact fitting with other pieces, leading to speculation about the original function of these stones. Are they parts of some kind of machinery? The official version claims that the construction of these blocks was carried out in the nearest quarry, located 100 kilometers away, and that they were transported using logs. Dragging blocks weighing over 100 tons across 100 kilometers, apparently without tools, and without leaving any marks on the ground, is incomprehensible. Let us remember that the ruins are at an altitude of over 3,700 meters, and it has been confirmed that 17,000 years ago trees did not grow at those heights that could have been used to drag the pieces. According to David Flynn, one of the largest single stones ever to be moved and put into a building anywhere on Earth was transported to Tiahuanaco from a quarry over 200 miles away. It weighs an enormous 400 tons. This feat is more incredible when one realizes the route of transport was through a mountain range up to 15,000 feet, and the builders did not have the benefit of the wheel. There is an old legend in the area that tells how the gods used trumpets whose sound lifted the earth. It does seem that the construction was carried out using something like anti-gravity devices capable of lifting the blocks once they were manufactured. Regarding the construction, there has been speculation about the use of molds, but making such a perfect mold would require precision technology. If it was made with a mold, who created the mold of the mold? The study carried out on the monumental stones constituting the Pumapunku site in Tiahuanaco, Bolivia, proves that the stones are artificial and are not carved with unknown technology or by extraterrestrials. It is the human genius, intelligently exploiting the resources of its environment, who created these marvels. Joseph Davidot's Geopolymer Institute. Located about 300 meters from the ruins, we find the Temple of Tiahuanaco. Ancient legend suggests that Tiahuanaco was built as a religious site to celebrate the arrival of sky gods at Pumapunku. In ancient times, the city flourished with abundance and achieved significant advancements in the sciences. Overnight, it disappeared, like so many similar past civilizations. On the walls of the temple, strange heads of different features are represented, which seem to reference each and every race that has populated the planet. Some of these heads appear to portray humanoid beings similar to the figure of the grey aliens, with enormous disproportionate heads, large slanted eyes, and a penetrating gaze. This raises the possibility that beings from another world coexisted with humans in antiquity. My research led me to conclude that Tiahuanaco was founded not by man, but by the Anunnaki gods in their search for gold long before man was taught the uses of tin. Zechariah Sitchin. When time began. In addition to the heads, the temple contains the so-called Gate of the Sun. Legend has it that it was a place of connection with the gods, who used it to enter and leave our world. Some have interpreted this legend as a possible reference to a dimensional gateway. According to reports and declassified documents, we have been visited by a number of extraterrestrial species, some of which are not only from other planets, but from other dimensions. Some of these beings originate from an ethereal plane coexistent with our physical universe. These entities, which could materialize on our planet, appeared as giant translucent figures. Is it possible that these beings used stargates like the one at Hayumarka to travel between dimensions? Ivan Petritsevich, Ancient Code. The temple was buried under layers of earth and was discovered in the 1970s. At the center of the temple stands an imposing statue of the god Viracocha, one of the beings said to have descended from the stars. The structure displays curious features. It has a beard and mustache, which is unusual since Native Americans were not accustomed to such appearances. Even more strangely, the representation of Viracocha is very much like the ancient gods of ancient Sumeria in Mesopotamia. According to legend, Viracocha emerged from the depths of Lake Titicaca to create humanity. To accomplish this, he built the city of Pumapunku and settled there, using its walls as a factory to create mankind. Quetzalcoatl, Viracocha, and Kukulkan are the ancient gods of Mesoamericans. there is a chance that these three are just one deity. According to descriptions of all three gods, they have features or characteristics that do not originate in South America. Fair skin, broad forehead, graying red beard, and big blue eyes. Could these deities represent the Anunnaki? Demi Powell, the core spirit. Tiahuanaco was established as a place to worship the gods. In Lake Titicaca, a strange bowl was found, later called the Fuente Magna, with inscriptions in Sumerian. The most curious aspect is that the Sumerian culture was more than 13,000 kilometers away. We must reconsider the idea that perhaps the Fuente Magna bowl is, in fact, just part of a long cross-cultural bond that has existed for thousands of years. Hugh Newman, Giants on Record. Could it be that Viracocha was an Anunnaki god of the Sumerian culture? Interestingly, Sitchin contends that the Mesoamerican civilization rose because of the settlement of some of the Anunnaki in Mexico and Peru, moving from Sumer with the aid of some humans recruited in Sumer and in Western Africa and Egypt. For what purpose were such constructions made? The exact reason for the construction of Pumapunku remains unknown. I have scoured the internet and found some very unusual opinions. Number 1. An alien spaceport. Proponents of the ancient astronaut theory speculate that Pumapunku was a landing site for extraterrestrial spacecraft. The massive, precisely carved stones could have served as docking platforms, with the advanced construction methods being evidence of alien technology. Number 2. Portal to another dimension. Some theorists propose that Pumapunku was designed as a portal or gateway to another dimension or realm. Myths about divine beings and advanced energies associated with the site fuel this speculation. Number 3. Advanced megalithic training ground. The site might have been a workshop or training ground where ancient engineers developed and honed their megalithic construction techniques. The modular design and intricate carving could indicate experimental architectural projects. Number 4. Repository of ancient knowledge. Pumapunku could have served as a repository of advanced knowledge, whether of human or extraterrestrial origin. Its intricate design and construction techniques might symbolize encoded information about mathematics, engineering, or astronomy. Number 5. Memorial to the gods or sky beings. The site might have been constructed to honor beings who descended from the sky. Legends of Viracocha and other godlike figures emerging from Lake Titicaca could indicate Pumapunku was dedicated to these divine or extraterrestrial visitors. Number 6. Ancient energy generator. Some alternative researchers suggest Pumapunku was part of an ancient energy grid or power generation system. The precise stone placement and alleged magnetic properties of the materials might have harnessed and focused Earth's natural energies. Number 7. Alien terraforming experiment. Pumapunku might have been part of an extraterrestrial terraforming project designed to alter Earth's environment or test the planet's suitability for alien habitation. The structures could be remnants of their experiments. Number 8. Alien mining operations. The site could have been a base for mining valuable Earth resources by extraterrestrials. The precision stonework might have been part of a larger infrastructure designed for industrial-scale extraction and processing. Number 9. Ancient superweapon testing site. Pumapunku might have been a testing site for advanced weapons, either human or alien. The massive destruction and displacement of the stones could be evidence of catastrophic explosions or energy weapon experiments. Number 10. Extraterrestrial embassy. The site may have been an embassy or neutral meeting ground where ancient humans and extraterrestrial visitors exchanged knowledge, resources, or diplomacy in a structured environment. Number 11. Energy amplification device for mind control. Some theorists propose that Pumapunku was an ancient energy amplification device used for controlling large populations through vibrational frequencies or electromagnetic waves, possibly directed by an advanced unseen force. Number 12. Ancient genetic laboratory. The structures might have housed a genetic laboratory where extraterrestrials manipulated human DNA to create or improve modern humans. The mythological figure Viracocha could represent such genetic engineers. Number 13. Noah's Ark for civilizations. Rather than saving animals, Pumapunku might have been a civilizational ark, preserving the knowledge, tools, and blueprints of advanced civilizations in case of a global catastrophe. Number 14. A time travel hub. Pumapunku might have been a hub for time travelers, either extraterrestrial or human descendants from the future. The site's sophisticated construction could have been left behind as a marker or anchor for navigating temporal dimensions. Number 15. Interlocking energy conduits. The H-blocks could have been components of an ancient energy grid designed to channel and distribute electromagnetic or vibrational energy across the site. Their precise design might have been necessary for efficiency in energy transfer. Number 16. Modular alien technology assembly. The H-blocks might have been part of a modular construction kit left behind by extraterrestrials. They could have been disassembled and reassembled to build advanced machines or structures elsewhere. Number 17. Magnetic stabilizers for anti-gravity. The H-blocks could have been magnetic stabilizers in an anti-gravity system used to move the massive stones at Pumapunku. Their intricate design might have optimized the magnetic fields required for such technology. Number 18. Stargate locking mechanism. The H-blocks may have been structural components or keys in an ancient stargate, interlocking to form a portal capable of interdimensional or interstellar travel. Number 19. DNA storage units. The H-blocks might have been designed to store genetic material or serve as a repository for DNA samples. The precision of their design could indicate they were airtight or safeguarded against environmental degradation. Number 20. Alien language or code. The shape and placement of the H-blocks might encode a symbolic language or message left by extraterrestrials. The uniformity of the blocks could represent a universal code intended to be deciphered by advanced civilizations. Number 21. Anchors for floating structures. The H-blocks might have been anchors for levitating or floating structures. Their unique design could have been used to stabilize platforms or buildings that hovered above the ground. Number 22. Tool calibration devices. The H-blocks could have been templates or calibration tools for aligning and fine-tuning advanced machinery, whether for construction, mining, or scientific experiments. Number 23. Extraterrestrial data chips. The H-blocks might serve as massive data chips, storing information in their precise dimensions and carvings. These could encode advanced scientific knowledge, historical records, or star maps accessible only with specific decoding technology. The only certainty is that it exists, and its construction is inexplicable. Graham Hancock, Fingerprints of the Gods. The ruins of Pumapunku are massive megalithic constructions that are tossed about like toy building blocks. What kind of cataclysmic upheaval could have done such a thing? David Hatcher Childress, Lost Civilizations of South America. At some point, the city was devastated and turned into ruins, possibly by a terrible explosion caused by a meteorite, or perhaps by the same technology that built Pumapunku, or by wars between celestial beings using strange devices called Vimanas, as described in Hindu texts that predate the ruins of Pumapunku. Brian Foerster alleges that Pumapunku was destroyed by a volcano-induced tsunami and burial more than 12,000 years ago. If we are to trust the legends, the germ of the Inca civilization developed from an original ancient civilization that engraved its memories in huge stones and left them on the plain of Tiahuanacu. Ephraim George Squire. 13,000 years ago, Earth's climate deteriorated in the run-up to the perigee of 10,500 years ago, which caused Noah's flood. Enlil, commander of the gold mining expedition from the planet Nibiru, ordered a second interplanetary rocket port atop the Andes. Adad built Pumapunku, a landing platform like the one the Anunnaki had built at Baalbek, Lebanon. A ground-level moat surrounded Pumapunku and connected to a canal system that ran to Lake Titicaca, 15 miles away. The Tiahuanacu complex was a metallurgical site, a temple, and an observatory complex powered by electricity. Sasha Lessin. We the Anunnaki. Were Tiahuanacu and Pumapunku genuinely a mining operation and a spaceport for the Anunnaki? At this point, we simply don't know. All we can say for sure is that this location is one of the most fascinating places on Earth.